URC quarterfinal number one, folks, and it's Glasgow who get their spot in the semi-finals. 36 points to 18, comfortable enough in the end. The Stormers fired a few shots, got themselves back close, but ultimately not close at the end. Their scrum was good, the Stormers. Their tackling not so much, and their handling not so much. Glasgow defensively very sound, and on attack, I don't know, man, looking pretty sharp. Barring the scrum, they look pretty good value for this win. As I said, booked themselves a spot in the semi-final. We'll go through some of the key events and the stats of this game, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. But ultimately 36-18 is pretty convincing, and good to see Glasgow get a bit of their mojo back, because they've looked to struggle towards the tail end of the season. But some of the guys, particularly the likes of Tuipulotu being back, certainly made them look sharp. It was the Stormers who started with all the early pressure, but again, their hands, Ruas and Hartzenberg, shell some balls early. Can't get any points on the board, but they do get one from a scrum. Penalty, opt for three, straight out in front. 3 points to 0. That's the only lead the Stormers would have. And then there's this thing of the Stormers scoring points and Glasgow hitting them straight back. They got the first try of the match, although it did kind of have to wait for a Sinatla yellow card. You had the likes of Jordan, who was sharp, Stain, who was sharp, getting some go-forward ball. Sinatla slows the ball down at the breakdown, so yellow card for him. Glasgow punish immediately and twice. The first one's a line-out move. We sneaky kind of fake pod. They don't throw it to the pod. They throw it to a non-jumping player, send Darge straight through. 7 points to 3, and then second during the yellow card. After Feinberg and Ngomazulu has a drop goal hit a post, they run it back. The Glasgow guys go through some phases. Tuipulotu, as I mentioned, key guy to have back. Dink through for Kyle Rowe. Try time 14-3. That's 2 tries during the yellow card. The Stormers did get 3 points back during the end of the yellow card to at least make it 14-3 in that yellow card period, but it's a pretty dominant set for the Glasgow lads. So 14-6 overall. Stormers have lost Murat as well to a HIA, unfortunately for them. But the scrums were still causing problems for Glasgow, and it's going to be something that they will have to be looking at in the analysis, because that's a real chink in the armour. They conceded their first try from a scrum free kick when the Stormers basically just put in a quick up and under. Sinatla only had to get a foot to it because nobody was catching it, and then he's able to regather and go over for the first Stormers try. So suddenly we're back to a 1 point game. It's kind of crazy stuff. 14 points to 13. Like after that yellow card and quickfire double, it looked like it was going to be all Glasgow, but no, the Stormers were still very much in the contest. But again, the Stormers conceding points straight after they've scored. Great breakdown work from the Glasgow guys. I think it was Stain who made the tackle. I forget who got over the ball. But yeah, they immediately got themselves a penalty. They immediately went for the touchline. They don't go for 3 points, this Glasgow side. And they were able to send Fenta over in the corner. So 19 points to 13. Starting to look a little bit more comfortable, although they were getting warned for too many penalties conceded, Glasgow. And again, part of those were the scrum. But they still managed to hang on defensively, not concede a yellow card, and force eventually a Stormers knock on. And there were some moments before the halftime break, like Tom Jordan looking sharp again, Sinatla stripped in the tackle. There were some pretty X-factor moments, but no more scoring. We go into the sheds with that same 19-13 lead for Glasgow. The Stormers have had more possession, 55%, more territory, 69%, with the wins at their back. But the line breaks is 8-1 to Glasgow. They've been looking sharper, and the turnovers conceded 7-3 to the Stormers. Too many balls shelled, and then the penalty counts 10-2 against Glasgow. So many stats in this game. It's like all one side. It's a real crazy kind of first half. 3 of those 10 penalties that Glasgow have conceded have been their props, and that's not including a free kick as well. So they have been getting themselves in some strife there. Stormers made a second half flying start. Scrum in their own half. Feinberg and Ngomazulu finds Livok, who's come off the bench as well. They find Sinatla out on the wing. He's got the gas to burn the Glasgow defenders. Doesn't help the Glasgow defenders kind of run into each other to slow each other down. But back to a 1 point game, 19-18. Anything to happen from here? Well, that's the last scoring for the Stormers. So No, rugby's an 80-minute game, and that's like only 43 minutes in, maybe 44, 45 with the conversion, so still a lot of rugby to go. And of course, Glasgow are able to hit straight back Tom Jordan, who probably deserved a try of his own for how much attacking play he was able to set up on this one. He cuts back inside against some Stormers tacklers, pops the ball to Kyle Rowe, who gets his second, 26-18. And Glasgow really bringing the razzle-dazzle from their own half when the Stormers lose line-out ball. They get it wide again. Tom Jordan, Kyle Rowe, inside ball for Horn on the support line, 33-18. Almost that's the final scoring. There is still 3 points to come from the boot, but yeah, ultimately the Stormers threw the kitchen sink. Why did I say it that way? They threw the kitchen sink at the Glasgow defenders for the remainder of the game. They went close from a maul. Andre Hugo Fenter ended up knocking it on. That was probably their closest one, but they just couldn't find that try. Excuse me, to get them back within touching distance. They just couldn't get it done. Either they'd knock it on, Glasgow would win a penalty. The tackle count was, huge from Glasgow, but yeah, they managed to hang on comfortably enough in the end. The key stats, man, turnovers conceded finishes 17-8 against the Stormers. That's how much ball they dropped. Evan Roos was 4 of those. Suleiman Hartzenberg was 3. Certainly there were others. Too many key drop balls from them. And their tackle percentage, the Stormers finishes at 72%, which is horrendous. Like, that's really, 80 is kind of the minimum. And these guys are well below that. They missed 37 tackles. The commentators even used the phrase, which I see on every bloody Super Rugby highlights video, defence is optional for the Stormers. You're not going to win playoff games with that kind of defence. Whereas with Glasgow, we're in comparison at 91%, which is world class. Crazy high from them. Line breaks 11-3 for Glasgow. Really good value, but their penalty count was 17-4, which is, again, horrendous. If Glasgow, if they play Leinster next week, if they concede 17 penalties, they're going to get done like dinner. You cannot be doing that. Rory Darge, man of the match, 19 tackles from him, great defensive shift. Tom Jordan, 4 line breaks. Kyle Steyn, 7 defenders beaten. I mean, Sinatla had the most run beaters with 86, bagged a couple of tries, but also got himself yellow carded, in which his team conceded 2 tries. So, yeah, that's it for the Stormers. Their season's over. They've been really up and down, and this game in itself had some up and down moments. And Glasgow, like I said, they'd rather play the Scarlets, I'm sure, but in all likelihood, barring a miracle Scarlets upset against Leinster, that'll be away in Dublin next game for them. But you guys let us know your thoughts on the game. How do you think Glasgow are? As I said, I think they've rediscovered a bit of their mojo in this game. But still, the scrum and the penalty count are the things to look at defensively, and, scoring tries, no problems there. But, yeah, knockout rugby, you probably need to be the complete package. But you guys let us know your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel, and, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.